Joining me on the line to discuss the state of Norway's economy is Marius Hov, Senior Economist at Handelsbanken Capital Markets in Oslo. So Marius, Norway's mainland GDP grew 0.2% quarter-on-quarter in Q2. Was this in line with your expectations, and what is your outlook for the rest of the year?
Yeah, this was exactly what we expected to see today in the national account figures. And you should also be aware that this marks a gradual slowing of the Norwegian economy. This was down from 0.3% growth in the first quarter of the year, which was revised down from the previous release. And you also see that one factor that actually supported growth in the second quarter was electricity transmission. And that is a component which is heavily weather dependent. So this is just something that gave a temporary effect to GDP, but it's going to fall out of the figures when we're moving one quarter ahead. So actual real GDP growth in the first quarter was a weak 0.1%. So the economy is slowly heading towards around 0% growth, if we are lucky, I would say, because we are a bit anxious about what's going to happen throughout this fall. We've had a new fall in oil prices, and we can see that this is heavily hitting Norwegian manufacturing sector and also accompanying sectors, which are more indirectly exposed to the oil industries.
The Central Bank of Norway recently cut interest rates to a record low of 1% and said it may need to ease policy further to avoid recession. Are you expecting a rate cut this autumn or any time this year?
That is our forecast, but of course there is some uncertainty around that, and perhaps especially around the timing. We expect another rate cut during the second half, but we are a bit uncertain if it's going to happen in September. Because the krona is currently a lot weaker than what Norges Bank expected, and that is something that can make them postpone the decision. But it depends on what signals we get from real economy developments going forward. So I would say that I'm uncertain around the timing issue. Perhaps they'll wait in September, but we might get a situation where they are more or less forced to cut the policy rate in September. But at least I expect a rate cut before Christmas.
Plunging oil prices has significantly impacted employment in Norway. In your opinion, when could we expect to see unemployment back at the 2008 level of 2.5%? Will it get worse before it gets better?
Yeah, I think it's going to get worse. Currently, we are having an unemployment rate which is higher than what we had during the heights of the financial crisis. I think you have to go back around 10 years. Last time we had such high unemployment in the economy. And that was also a period where we had higher structural unemployment. So it's not directly comparable to what we have now. If you look at the survey unemployment now, it's around 4.3%, and I think it could easily move up to 5% over the at least during next year, and perhaps hit a peak in 2017. But the key thing is that this is the direction it's moving. I do not believe what Norges Bank does, and that is that we have already hit peak level at unemployment. Norges Bank expects it to stay around these levels for the coming year and then gradually move downwards. I think that is way too optimistic under current circumstances.
And what is your outlook for the euro NOK for the next 6 months?
Well, just to say that first, I'm not an FX strategist, so I have to treat this thing a little bit carefully. But we have been among those with the most negative outlook for the Norwegian krona. And we have been expecting those rates that you see now, at least when you compare to what other forecasters have done. But of course, the krona is at very weak levels now, and who knows what's going to happen going forward, because you see that it moves in line with oil prices. And I'm not sure where the bottom for oil prices are, then I don't know how weak the krona can possibly get. But we are definitely in a case where the krona stays weak, and that is also something that Norges Bank wants to happen. And if necessary, I think they are going to do even more to support a weak krona going forward, and that means further rate cuts if that is something that should be necessary.
Marius, thank you very much for sharing your insight. Well, that is all for now. Until next time, goodbye.